Paul Cezanne is a French artist most known for post-impressionism style. When you look at a few of his works, you're going to see brushstrokes in them and where it looks like the light's kind of reflecting throughout. Here's one of his landscape paintings, so big blocks of color, and you can really see where he mixes colors. Here's one of his still life paintings. A still life is where you set up objects, usually fruit, maybe some drinkware, and then you draw what you see. Sometimes it would even be bones or skulls in the still life. Notice in his apples he uses more than one color. We see reds, oranges, yellows, greens, dark greens. It looks real because he also adds shadow. It makes the apples appear like they're 3D. We're going to be drawing our own 3D apple drawing. I have two options. One on the left is black paper with oil pastels. The one on the right is white paper with crayons. It all depends what materials you have. I start out by showing you how to draw it on both. Then you could fast forward to the crayon section of it. For your Paul Cezanne Still Life Apple project, if you have black paper and oil pastels, this is going to work really well, or construction paper crayons. If not, we also have white paper and just regular crayons. So to start with, when we draw our apples and our basket of apples, if I'm using either paper, on the right side, you want to start with a stretched out smiley face. So I'll do that on both. From there, we're going to go 2 straight lines down, but not the whole way for our basket. Remember, you're only drawing it once. I'm just showing you on both types of paper. Smiley face at the bottom to connect. Smiley face at the bottom to connect. Next, you're going to need something circular. I just have this little cup. I'm going to use the bottom of it for the smaller circle and put an apple here off to the side. Same thing if you use the black paper. And then we want our basket and our apple on the table. So we're going to make a straight line, jump over your basket, straight line, jump, straight line. To make apples in the basket, I'm still going to use the bottom of my cup. I don't want to draw over the basket, so I'm going to draw around it. Maybe I have an apple over here. Maybe one in the middle, kind of hidden between or down below. You can have an apple kind of stacked on top. And I feel like it needs one more. So this basket and apple are full. Same thing if you have the black paper. Put your apples where you'd like them, depending on how big you've made your basket. Okay. I'm going to show the oil pastels first. So if you're using crayons and the white paper, you can just fast forward in this part. If I want this apple to be red, I'm going to get my oil pastel or construction paper crayon, color it in red. But then to make it look 3D, I need to add a highlight. So I'm going to use white and make it a little bit lighter on the one side. Maybe show where my stem will come out. I can mix orange in here with the red. Start to get different colors, just like Paul Cezanne did. But then to show a shadow, I want to start to add some blue, or I want to add some black. But that black doesn't necessarily look like a shadow yet. So I'm going to go back to my red, because oil pastels we don't mix with our fingers. And if I use the red, I can just spread the color to blend it a little more. I can put yellow in my red apple. It's all up to you because apples aren't just all one color. I'm going to put my stem and maybe a little shadow on my stem. You can add a leaf if you'd like. I probably should have drawn it first. My green leaf. And then we're ready to move on. You can do a green apple. I fill it all in just like I did my red. Yellow would be a really good color to mix with the green. And remember, if your light is coming from this side, and that means the left part, the left side of your apple wants to be light. I can add a lighter green mixed in there. It might kind of look like the yellow. Yep. And then I can add black for my shadow. And a little black in there, and some off to the side. And my stem. So since this is really black, I'm going to go back to my green, kind of mix it in, blend it in. And then I'm going to let you finish your apples while I put mine in fast forward. It's up to you what color you want to do. I probably want to do green or red or orange, but a color that will stand out more. So if I do blue, I'm going to color my whole basket in blue. Then I'm going to add a highlight where the light's hitting it. Or I can use white, or I can use the lighter blue. My white's mixing and making a lighter blue. And then black for a shadow. I'm going to go back over it with my first shade of blue to blend it. And if you want it to look like it's woven, you can use your black, make lines across, lines up and down, and then you can go back to your original blue and trace over those, or whatever color you chose. I'm going to do the table next. So again, you might want a color that doesn't blend in with your apples or your basket. I'm going to try to make my table look like wood. So I'm going to start with some brown. Then I'm going to add some black lines in it to give the texture of the wood. And then the shadow of the apple. apples is going to make it really pop. We're going to leave the background black. So for the shadow, again, if the light's coming from the left, your shadow will be on the right. Same thing with under the basket and off to the right side. If that's too black, I can go back to my brown and use my brown to kind of blend that in. And there is your Paul Cezanne apples. If I only have crayons at home, we decide to use the white paper, crayons. If I want my first apple to be red, I'm going to color this in red. So it just looks like a red circle. I can mix, since apples aren't just one shade of red, I can mix some orange in with it. I can mix some yellow in with it. And then for the shadow, we're going to do some brown or even some black to make it really look like a sphere and that it's 3D. I can have a stem. If I want my next apple to be green, I need to find a green. It's a brick green. But I can mix light green, I can mix dark greens. So remember, Paul Cezanne's art, you could see his brush strokes. And apples aren't just completely one color. So you can keep mixing and overlapping your crayons to get wax onto the paper. We can add our shadow with the black lightly. You can see our stem. I like to mix the black and the brown for the stem. Maybe my next apple is a little more orange. I want you to finish your apples. I'm going to speed up mine. And then when you're ready for the basket and the table, you can pause the video or skip ahead. for the basket. For your basket, I probably wouldn't pick red or another color that would blend in with your apples, maybe blue or violet, anything like that. Could be brown. But I'm going to press lightly on the left because that's where the light's hitting it. And then as I get to the right, I want to start to add the shadow. So I press harder with my crayon. I can also add some black to this side. I'm going to mix my other violet with it as well to cover up some of the white spaces. If you want it to look like a woven basket, you can always take your black, make some smiley faces, and some vertical lines. Then for your table, you can do any color you want. For my other one, I did try to make it look like wood. So I'm going to color it all brown. And then I'm going to get some black, add the shading, add the shadow on the table. For the apple, that way it really pops. And then also for the basket, I go right under it and then off to the right, so it goes off the page. And then there is your Cezanne still life.